residue intact before planting new crops to improve the structure and reduce erosion. Those are just some of the types of programs that would qualify, and you can apply at USDA. They're expecting to be particularly innovative pilot projects until June the 10th. There's about $1 billion available for farmers.
Previsol fungicide is to Pentfields what vowels are to the English language. With it, disease control sind compult.
It couldn't be any clearer. Provosol fungicide is to peanut fields what vowels are to the English language. Without it, disease control isn't complete. Provosol fungicide from BASF is the missing piece you need to finish off disease. Always read and follow label directions.
I'm Darren Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
April showers bring May flowers and unbeatable lawn and garden prices at Rural King. Like this bad boy 54-inch zero-turn mower for just under $4,000 cash. Or this DeWalt 25-foot extension cord, just $24.98. Or assorted mulch, starting at $1.99 a bag. Shop now at RuralKing.com or your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
For today, it'll be beautiful with plenty of sunshine. We'll reach a daytime high of 84 to 86. Clear skies tonight with a low 61 to 65. For tomorrow, it'll be pleasant with plenty of sunshine. Tomorrow, we'll reach a high of 83 to 85. Taking a look at Thursday, mostly sunny skies. Another pleasant day on tap with a high 80 to 83. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm forecaster Drew Shannon.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Join Gary and Don Crawford of Pinnacle Retirement Advisors for Retirement with Pinnacle, Saturday mornings at 9 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Don't miss Retirement with Pinnacle with Gary and Don Crawford, Saturday mornings at 9. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
This hour of Ocala Talks is brought to you in part by Blockers Furniture. Go see all their specials at blockersfurniture.com. That's right. It's In the Garden with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. She's here every Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., taking your calls. Carol Ann, good morning to you.
Good morning, good morning.
So, during the break, people couldn't see it unless they were watching YouTube.
Right.
But I showed you some photos.
Yes, the garden's coming along.
And when I told Susan I was going to show you the photos, Susan goes, ask if there's any suggestions.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to do something to help keep the moisture in, I'd get a mulch of some kind. Whether or not you said you have oak trees in the yard?
Yes, a lot of oak trees.
Yeah, you could use some of those oak leaves. I'd probably except your lawnmower guy.
They're cut up.
Yeah, they're kind of ground up on that. So I mean, might want to get I'm trying to remember how big is that area? Like
it's 3 foot wide, probably 3-4 foot wide, and it was where the bushes and all used to be there.
How long is it?
Probably 20 feet, 25 feet.
I would say something. Mulching it won't hurt. It would help to hold the moisture in, and of course, as we've been dry, temperatures are on the rise. But luckily, hey, we're having spring. So quit complaining on that.
The cucumbers are growing out towards the yard, though. So we got to get a trellis. We got to get a trellis to get them to go up.
Yes. So. Much easier to go up, easier to harvest the fruit and protect
and we
them.
have
but a little mulch, and I would probably say stay away from the color mulch. I don't think of cypress as being a truly renewable resource. So going through and doing, say, I'd probably do with like the Melaleuca mulch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
We have harvested though off the cherry tomato plant.
Okay, yeah.
Probably 15,
Nice,
18 little cherry
nice.
tomatoes already, and it's got
bukus
when
of-
we
yeah.
put it about a week and a half ago. It had already had tomatoes on it when we
Okay.
got it from
Okay.
Bob Wines,
Okay.
and we put it in the ground, and those tomatoes ripened up. That's the 18,
The first
15
right,
to 18 we got right.
Yeah.
But then it wilted and got a little sad, and
Yeah.
it was a little brownish looking. And I said that's probably the shock of putting it in the ground.
Yeah.
And now I went out there this morning to water it. There's 10 or 12 green. They're small,
Okay,
but
the
they're
size
very
of a pea right now. Yeah.
right.
Yep.
But they're green tomatoes coming up. So I think the tomato plant
It's-
goes, okay,
yeah.
I'm good now. I'm good.
It went from a container that was, that you could pour a glass of water on it and it was well watered, into soil that was probably a little bit dry in the surrounding area.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put it in, whatever you were watering had to water not just that little plant, but the area around it too. So now that it's got itself settled in, yeah, it should be fine.
You saw she's so happy the squash and zucchini.
Yeah.
She was worried the squash and zucchini that she wouldn't be able to grow. That would be the hardest of the group to grow.
Oh, okay. They're not really that hard to grow. They can have some fungal issues, but right now it's dry, so we're good.
Right.
And those are one of those plants, same thing with the tomatoes, that really benefit from that. You said you went out this morning to water, is that morning watering. So as the sun begins to hit them, it dries those leaves over, throughout the course of the day, and they don't go into the evening.
You didn't.
wet.
You held out on us though.
Oh, did I? Wait a minute.
You didn't tell us the beautiful flowers that come with squash.
Oh,
and zucchini.
squash blossoms are good.
Oh,
they are
they're
fantastic.
wonderful
yeah.
yellow,
and
vibrant
if
yellow
they're-
flowers.
And if they're the male flowers, you can actually go ahead and, on the first ones, you can always go ahead and pick some of them and batter them and fry them.
Really?
They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are big. I mean,
Yeah.
nice yellow
Oh,
flowers. and
yeah,
everything.
beautiful.
I didn't realize squash had flowers.
And they're beautiful flowers. And they're, as compared to, even though your cucumbers and your yellow squash and all those things are, and your melons and things like that are all in that same family, their flowers, though all yellow, are all a little bit different. And so you've got, your cucumbers have much smaller flowers.
So those are edible flowers too.
The squash blossoms are
Squash
edible.
blossoms
Yep,
are edible
squash
flowers.
blossoms. Yep, they're edible.
Yeah, I can see those coming on my omelets now.
Yeah, there you go. Well, but you only want not all the male flowers, but the male flowers, because the female flowers are the ones that are going to give you your squashes.
But we got the lettuce going good.
Nice.
The bell pepper plants, but they were really small to begin with.
Right. And
So-
but they're going to grow all season long. They'll produce that.
But I loved it. I think it's a good sign. When I went out this morning, they were all standing at attention. Nothing was wilted. or anything.
Nothing was wilted on that next day. That's exactly. And like you said, a good watering today. Right now, because we did have some rain.
It was 53 degrees though this morning.
It was chilly.
Is that a factor?
That was chilly. Nah, not really. I don't think at this
It is
point.
for the Bermuda grass.
It is for me. When I stepped out the door, I went, ooh, I need a jacket. So I know by the time I leave here, I won't need this, but
No.
it's usually a little chilly in here too. So I was just being prepared.
It's not chilly in here today.
No,
though.
you don't. Yeah, because it's cold outside. Gorgeous weather. We are having spring. Even the last, I think they said yesterday we were high of 83, 84.
Right, and that's supposed to be the high today, 83.
And beautiful day. Out in the sun, of course, it's going to feel a little warmer just because you don't have anything
well,
blocking.
it's,
but
60, it's 68 degrees now.
oh,
It's
okay.
warmed up
Because
quite a bit.
Yeah, it was like 55, I think, when I left my house.
Yeah,
so-
it's warmed up quite a bit now that the sun's high in the sky.
right. But
There was a
it's-
heavy dew on the ground, too, this morning.
oh, okay.
North of town.
North
anyway.
of town. Yeah, I didn't. Well, because I don't have grass, I
Right.
don't always notice it.
You
I'm-
live,
I'm
in,
a
you
little-
live in
yeah.
an arid desert area.
I have a lot of trees. I have a lot of trees. So actually, I benefited really nice because Thursday I had mowed my yard. It's not my grass. I don't have grass. I mowed my yard. I mowed all over all the oak leaves, the magnolia leaves, all that stuff on the ground, all the little baby oak trees, all the little baby gum trees, all that stuff. And so then the next day it rained. So it's like, ooh, it settled all that in. All that stuff was all chopped up. So it's beginning to, it'll be breaking all that down, making, I've got pretty good dirt if I could just dig a hole. But with all the tree roots, there's no hole digging.
Well,
going on.
that's the thing. Where Susan put this garden,
Yeah.
it's the easiest digging I've ever seen
Oh,
in my
sure,
life.
because the shrubberies had been pulled out.
Yeah,
so
the shrubberies came pulled. And how? Because the shrubberies had all died.
Right.
They didn't even survive in that dirt. These shrubberies were all dead sticks.
There's a good chance that when they were planted, there's no irrigation in there.
No.
And there wasn't.
No.
And so a lot of times, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm blanket saying landscapers do this, but a lot of times commercial landscapers, you're putting in house after house of the $5,000 landscape package, and they've got 1 gallon pots of all kinds of stuff, and the one guy goes down and takes the power auger and makes a hole. The next guy pulls the plant out of the pot and throws it in the hole. Doesn't work out the roots. The ground is soft enough. They just throw them in there. 5 years down the line, the plant still looks like the same thing it did when it came out of the pot, and when you put your spade underneath there and you lift it up, you said, yeah, it still looks like that 1 gallon pot that was stuck in the ground.
The guy who owned the house before Susan had a landscaping thing done about 4 or 5 years before he sold the house to Susan.
Right.
And when she pulled them out, because she was able to, they were so dead and the root system was so good, she was able to just reach with her hand and pull them out.
And just pull them right out of the ground.
Now, some of them she had to get
the spade and get up underneath there. Yeah.
But a couple of them she was able to pull out, and they did look like they had just come out of a pot.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of that too, without having irrigation, and that's right now where people are selling homes. They're everybody knows I work down there by the Villages, so those houses are buying and selling left and right, and they're going, well, I want to put in this and this and this, and it's like, you're gonna sell the house. It's like, are you there to make sure it gets watered before the buyer actually takes over? Because the buyer's not going to know that they need to then go out there every morning and give that thing a drink of water.
Because there's no irrigation.
Or even if there's irrigation, everything needs supplemental water on that first year, a little extra than what your irrigation's going to do. And to me, it's like, okay, do a few pots. If you want to do some little curb appeal, unless you know far enough in advance to get something established, and keep it simple.
Yeah.
Do pots to bring in the color, but keep the landscape simple. You're not real sure who the buyer's going to be. They may not like that whole big tropical thing or something that's going to have to be maintained a lot.
My grandmother used to say, keep it simple, sweetie.
Yeah.
My football coaches did not use the word sweetie.
No. There's several other S words that I've heard used.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's KISS. We know that.
Yeah,
we know that.
Keep it simple.
We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll take your calls. 622-9622 is the number to call if you want to talk with Carol Ann Baldwin. We'll be back with In the Garden with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin after this short timeout. You tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics, now with offices in Ocala and the Villages. Hey, everybody, this is Tom Schmitz. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biological therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissues in your joints with lasting results. If you got pain in your knees, your shoulders, hips, back like I do, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. That's right, no surgery. Don't go through another year with that awful joint pain, and don't let them put you under the knife. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. There's offices in Ocala and the Villages, so give them a call, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY only $4.99. Plus DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Started in 1975. It's Yendel's Building Materials. Whether you're making repairs, adding a room, or building a house, Yendel's constantly delivers excellent service and top quality materials and many of the tools and hardware you need to get the job done. At Yendel's, they take pride in supplying their customers with new and innovative products. Yendel's experience in truss design, manufacturing, and component materials is second to none. 834 North Magnolia Avenue in Ocala, 732-3000. Stop by to experience the difference.
Think you know Dex Imaging? Think again. In the office, streamlining communications. In the field, delivering top-notch service, enhancing productivity, and reducing downtime. In the data center, a part of the growing digital document revolution. In the world of business, supporting entrepreneurs and helping companies grow. In the forefront of technology, developing cutting-edge document management solutions. So if you think you know Dex Imaging, you don't know Dex.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. It's time to get that new look started. Let's get rid of those sun-damaged ends and faded out color and get into something rich and vibrant. Humidity is not your hair's friend. It causes your hair to capture moisture and leaves it looking dry and unhealthy. Hello Gorgeous is a certified Brazilian blowout salon. We can tame those locks, leaving your hair healthy and shiny with a Brazilian smoothing treatment. So let us help you make a great first impression. Call us today to set your appointment at Hello Gorgeous. Our number is 352-351-5358. Again, that's 352-351-5358. And don't forget, we also do men and children's cuts too. 351-5358. Hello Gorgeous is conveniently located in the heart of downtown Ocala. So call today and set up your appointment at Hello Gorgeous Salon at 351-5358. That's 351-5358.
Hello, gorgeous.
That's right. It's In the Garden with Master Gardener, Carol Ann Baldwin. She joins us every Tuesday, and she pointed out a very good point that nowadays there's a lot of people on the In the Garden Facebook page that, they live here sometimes, they live out of state sometimes. So, and with the new laws about the cell phones needing to use the area code. Call 352-622-9622.
Yeah.
You got to add the 352.
Got to
I
add
always
the 352.
forget the 352.
Well, and because forever and a day, the only time you ever needed an area code was when you were calling long distance.
Right.
And then suddenly cell phones meant you no longer had long distance unless you were calling out of state.
Right.
That you needed to add that area code in. And
I remember.
That you could be you could be up in Virginia
right.
on vacation and call this show and not need an area code because you have your Florida cell phone with you. But now you need your area code to call Bellevue from here.
I remember when you first started having to use 770 when I lived in Atlanta.
Oh.
You had to use it to call from a home to a home.
Right.
You still had to put the area code because you had 678, you had 770, you had 404. And so since the late 80s, you've had to put the area code even from your home phone.
Right.
But we hadn't had to do that here. But now from cell phones, because
there's so many phone numbers out there nowadays. Because a household used to only have one phone.
Yeah, and
so
you would fight over who got it in their bedroom and lay it in the hallway and stuff like that.
Ours was in the kitchen wall, but people, I don't even know if people knew at that time, and that has nothing to do with gardening. Phones even back then, you could turn the ringer off.
Yes, you could.
Because my dad worked nights, so we'd turn the ringer off, and I could be sitting next to it, coming home from school, doing homework, sitting at the kitchen counter, and not hear the phone ring until it was like the third or fourth ring because you heard this.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, it's the phone, and you answer it, and they're going, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sitting here doing homework. I didn't hear the phone ring, and they're going, what?
Yeah.
How'd you not hear that? Yeah, my dad works nights. The phone's turned off. We don't hear it ring. Yeah.
So 352-622-9622 is the number to call. I asked you a little bit earlier, we touched on it. With this kind of weather, with it being in the mid-50s, I know that flowers and stuff like that, they've already broke, and the azaleas have already shown
They're
off.
loving it.
But like some people that their Bermuda was waking up and everything and trying to wake up, these cool nights don't help your Bermuda grass.
But it's not hurting it either. It's
not
just,
hurting
it's not hurting it. It's just,
lengthening transition from
yeah,
the dormant
it's from
stage.
the dormant stage.
Right.
Yeah, but it's coming out. I mean, if it's been fed, it's getting occasional irrigation. If you're irrigating, you don't have to irrigate Bermuda so long as you're keeping it mowed. At the proper. Not like golf course where they have they have to irrigate, but that's because also the amount of foot traffic and that on it as well. But no, the landscape and everything. You figure that, especially being that it's dry, having it being a little bit cooler is actually, for the plants, they're not quite, losing quite as much moisture, that the water we're having to put down for them is lasting a little bit longer. So we've had the cool nights. So if you're watering, first thing in the morning, those plants are having a chance to really take that water up and being beneficial to them. Like I said, adding a layer of mulch, vegetable garden, flower garden, and things like that. And one thing people sometimes don't think about this is when you're going to put mulch down, you need to first water everything that's going to be mulched, because trying to get the water initially through that mulch down into the ground can be a problem.
It's been windier than I remember.
It has been
this spring.
Yeah.
Does the wind factor into moisture and how much it retains
moisture
and
loss,
not retain?
Yeah, moisture loss happens when we have windy weather. Because it blows across it, and without having any moisture coming in with it, and our humidities have been down a bit, that it's that's what desiccates plant material. It can you figure when you're out in a windy day, even if it's a nice day, and you come home and it's like, ooh, you have a windburn. It's not necessarily sunburn; it's more of a windburn to your face, and and things like that.
And so they affect the flowers.
It affects the plants. It can affect the plants as well. Usually, just for the sake that they may need more irrigation in order to to do their best. So watching that, if your blooms aren't opening or staying open and things like that, you might want to take a look at that as being a factor, as well as maybe that as a factor first before you look at and start with the bug spray.
I was at the golf course yesterday and was talking to a couple guys while I was waiting on my buddy to show up. And one guy talked about how he had a tree surgeon out of his house to remove an oak tree that was dying from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
It had been eat up from the inside out. And he didn't realize it until this year, as it greened back up, because it's been so windy.
Right.
That when it greened back up, it was blowing the green leaves off because the tree is weak enough where it can't really, even though it grew the leaves.
Right.
It was losing leaves that were green because of the wind, and he said that seemed abnormal to him. So he called out a tree surgeon who then drilled into the tree, found out it was soft.
Yeah, and you can actually usually see that as well. And we don't necessarily walk around the yard inspecting the trees.
We don't pay attention, right.
Until you see something odd. And that may have even been little twig girdlers, because sometimes that'll happen. They'll put all that flush of growth, we'll get a wind or a heavy rain and wind and blows all kinds of new growth off, and you're going, ooh, that doesn't look good. But you look up and you go, okay, the tree's still green. It just took off,
Well, he said the tree was green, so he didn't think...
Didn't think much of it.
He thought that, but he had a, I guess an arborist.
An arborist come out and take a look at it.
They took some samples.
Yeah.
And then said the tree's rotting from the inside
out.
Right.
And oak trees will do that, especially the water oaks.
That's what it was.
And you'll see some of them, and it'll be from the ground up 4 or 5 feet high. You'll just see a dark area. It begins to look sunken in. It may still have bark across it even, but over time, that bark, it'll even try to heal. And those cambium layers will stay the tree will be green and there'll be nothing in the middle of it. But then when we have a storm, you figure the only root system or the only thing connected to those roots is that outer, say 3 or 4 inches of tree bark, cambium layers and things like that going around, and no heart in the center of it, and then they go down.
Right.
You know, when you see the ones when somebody has those massive, you see it's all on the news, the massive oak tree that's across, 3 lots and 2 cars, and you look at where the root system was, and it's just cracked off halfway out of the ground. You go, yeah, that whole bottom of that tree was rotted.
Well, he said he was talking about it. He said they come and took the tree down.
Yeah.
Because the arborist said from doing the samples that it was rotting from the inside out, and he was told you probably got 4 or 5 more years before it's all the way.
But you might as well just
go
go
ahead. But he was like, well, if it's rotten from the inside out, why?
You might as well take it out now.
What happens if next year a hurricane comes through that's powerful enough to knock it down?
Right.
Because it's rotted and weak.
Rotted from the exactly. That you don't want that problem to occur.
Then he told us what the tree removal cost.
Oh yeah, and it's only going to be more expensive in 4 or 5 years down the road.
I almost had to go to the emergency room, and I didn't even pay the bill.
Right.
The shock and stress made me almost have to go to the hospital. And it's going to only get more. You're right.
It's only because just cause
fuel gets more.
Yeah, it's just everything. Everything. Nothing comes down usually, or at least not for long.
But do a lot of trees rot from the inside out?
Your water oaks will. Mostly your water oaks will do that. I find that gum trees shed limbs. Not that they're rotting, they just seem to, one limb will die and just drop off and scare the daylights out of you when it, when you hear a thump in the middle of the night, a crack and a thump, and you get up the next day and there's this huge
limb laying
in the yard going, wow, I'm glad I wasn't out there. But no, that's and that is when you're seeing things, and that's why to take a look around the yard in the spring when things are beginning to leaf out, and call the arborist.
We'll be right back.
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
New information is being revealed about the capture of an Alabama inmate. He could be extradited back to the state by tomorrow for arraignment. Police tracked the murder suspect in Indiana yesterday and say the corrections officer who apparently helped him escape took her own life. Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton tells CNN it was corrections officer Vicky White who was the mastermind behind the escape plan for Casey White.
Well, she was in a position with her knowledge, with her position in the office. She scheduled the van transports that morning, made sure all the other armed deputies were out of the building and tied up in court.
Bridget Brink, President Biden's nominee for ambassador to Ukraine, is set to go before a Senate panel today. Senators are expected to ask her about her plans for reopening the U.S. Embassy in the capital. USA Radio News.
Water. It's essential to life, but it's also something that so many of us here in America take for granted. Imagine how different your life would be without access to clean water in your home. What if you had to walk to the nearest creek, stream, lake, or pond to get water? Suddenly, going to work and school wouldn't be an option because you and your children would have to spend your days collecting water. This is the day-to-day reality of most families living in the world's poorest countries. But what if I told you that you can change that reality for just pennies a day? Through our water projects, Food for the Poor is working to meet the need for water in 17 impoverished countries. But it won't happen without you. Incredibly, it only takes $15 to provide a child access to clean water for life. $15, decades and decades of access to water for a child. Give the life-changing gift of water now. Just text USA Radio to 91999. Text USA Radio, all one word, to 91999.
Are you or your loved one being released from a hospital and wondering how you'll manage? Inform your physician that you want to go to Palm Garden of Ocala at 2700 Southwest 34th Street for your rehabilitation. Palm Garden provides pain management, post-discharge follow-up, diabetic care, psychosocial support, and so much more. Plus, they even offer outpatient rehab. This award-winning care facility has a team of licensed professionals dedicated to enhancing your independence. Call 352-854-6262 today.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages, and going to the post office or the UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped. The Golden Spoon Diner and Seafood Restaurant, a true New York-style diner in Ocala. Try our breakfast special of 2 eggs served with home fries or hash browns and toast for just $4.49. We have an all-you-can-eat catfish special daily for $14.99, and Thursday through Sunday we have prime rib. Happy hour for food starts at 2 p.m. The Golden Spoon Diner and Seafood Restaurant is located at 5400 Southwest College Road in the Heathbrook Commons Plaza. Open daily from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. We will see you soon.
You're getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
Two Men in a Truck. It's Blockers Furniture Memorial Sale going on the entire month of May. Beautiful two-piece sectional starting as low as $19 per month. Sofas for as little as $10 per month. Kick back in a new recliner for as little as $11 per month. Plus, you can save up to $700 off the Ashley Reeling Queen Bed and Dresser Mirror Set. And save 25% off all outdoor furniture. Mattresses starting at only $3.99. See it, buy it, take it home. It's Blockers Furniture Memorial Sale going on the entire month of May. Blockers Furniture, 2402 Southwest College Road, Ocala.
Here's the latest from the College of Central Florida. On Wednesday, May 18th at 10:35 a.m., Dr. Alan Daniff and Dr. Rob Wolf from CF will tell us how members of the community can share their experience by becoming an adjunct instructor at CF. So tune in to hear how rewarding it can be to share your knowledge in the classroom. That's Wednesday, May 18th at 10:35 on Higher Education Happenings on Ocala Talks on WOCA, The Source. That's right. It's Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. She's in studio with us. 352-622-9622 is the number to call for your questions, if you got any questions for Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann, what is some of the, if you had to, because I know you get a myriad of questions when people come in, but as people come in the springtime and they're getting ready for the summer to hit and everything, or the snowbirds are getting ready to get their yards in order so they can go back, what are some of the biggest questions that you hear over and over again?
Oh, biggest questions. Well, is wanting to plant things and they're getting ready to leave too soon after,
Right.
after trying to plant things, and that's what I was mentioning before. Is I actually told a couple the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact, they were looking to do a couple little things, but they were leaving tomorrow, meaning today. And I went, when are you coming back? And they said something like December. I said, come see me then. We'll get you. And I said, will you be here a couple months? And they said, yes. I said, we can get you set up at that point. A lot of times in the beginning of summer, right now, I think most of the snowbirds have gone back. It's into May now. There's a few there that, because we've had such pleasant weather, that are hanging around till apparently it's has snowed again in different places up north, and and so I think there's a few. There's a few. Yeah, there's a few folks that still have postponed their trips north. But trying to get the lawn ready before they go, and what to do. And at this moment here, we're the 10th of May. We're 5 plus months into the year already. And so we fertilized back at the mid to end of March, and this is the time, if you do a fertilizer program on your lawn, to go ahead and get that done sometime here within the next 2 to 3 weeks, because we normally expect our rainy season to start sometime within the first 2 weeks of June. Is usually when the rain, our regular rains, our summer rains begin. We'll hope that we've got that. I haven't heard anything about any delays of any rain fronts or any prognostications of lack of rain this year. So, but that kind of thing is one of the best things. And I always tell people, and right now I've heard people go, well, I'm watering like 3 times a week, that they've got thin lawns. They just bought this house. The house had been empty for 1, 2, 3 years because the homeowner had gone north and just didn't come back because of COVID and things like that. And it's trying to rejuvenate. And one thing, even though everybody says, oh, that horrible grass you have here, and I've got St. Augustine. It's actually, St. Augustine is not a horrible grass. It does take maintenance. It can take a little extra water.
You got to work for St. Augustine.
You got to work, but you don't really have to work that hard to still have a
great
decent,
to step in barefoot.
It's a nicer grass than some of the other ones. But one lady I was talking to, it's just she's going, it's got little grass here, and then this thing that runs across, and then there's a little bit of grass here. I said, well, you got to get those rhizomes covered. And she had said that some landscape company or pest control or whomever it was, company quoted her just huge number to do what I'm telling her she could hire her handyman. And if she's willing to, to purchase the stuff on her own, she could fix this yard. It wasn't going to happen overnight, but neither was whatever the pest control company, what they were going to do was not going to happen overnight. And my recommendations, I don't usually say sand on top. We have sandy soils. We know sandy soils don't hold water. We know sandy soil has no nutrition to it. So adding sand to me is just spending money on something that's going to just eventually go away. And so I usually will tell people to either find a good compost or something like the black velvet. I like that because it's weed free. Anything topsoil is not screened for weeds. So if you're trying to bring a lawn back, I wouldn't really be looking at topsoil as being something I would be putting on the ground to repair my lawn, because I wouldn't want to introduce a weed problem into my lawn. But looking for a product, and you don't have to buy this stuff by the bag. You don't have to buy it at a big box store. You can go to the bulk yards, the dirt yards and things like that, and find some nice, find out if they have a yard mix. Do they know a lawn mix? Do they know whether or not it's been screened for weed seed? Because if it were me and I'm going to spend that kind of money, I really don't want to put weeds in my yard. So, but putting just like an eighth, probably no more than, don't get to any more than 1/4 inch. Even 1/4 inch might be a little too deep. 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch just across that whole yard is going to help to hold that moisture. Putting that in, proper fertilization. If you're not into, once you if you're using something similar to a black velvet or a compost, that's actually going to feed that lawn initially. And other products that are similar to like Milorganite or the Florida Natural. The only difference in those is Milorganite comes from Milwaukee. The Sunnyland All Natural comes from West Palm Beach. So it doesn't have to go as far. Great fertilizer for a lawn. And I knew a homeowner who kept their St. Augustine lawn looking pristine using that fertilizer only. They did not use big brand name turf builder fertilizers or other lawn fertilizers. They used the Milorganite and the Milorganite-like fertilizers in their whole landscape. Beautiful lawn, beautiful landscape.
I tell you, the whatever they use at Disney, their St. Augustine is amazing at all times. But they got unlimited budget now.
And they have the skilled people who know when and how to put it on. Because even though you've got a big budget, you're still going to follow Florida regulation of how many pounds of nitrogen to apply per 1,000 square feet at any given time or any given year.
It's the reason I love St. Augustine so much.
Yeah.
is because when it's fresh cut,
Oh,
you can take it smells great.
Yeah.
And you can take your shoes off and just walk through a thick
It's
yard
a
of
nice
St.
right,
Augustine.
right.
Your feet stay cool.
Yeah.
It's
and
fantastic.
and it's a grass that we mow at a much higher level. It's like a 3-inch mow height, so that's a pretty tall grass. So that's keeping the ground, and it does. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who say get rid of the lawns, get rid of the lawns. Lawns have their place in our landscapes, especially for entertaining areas, pet areas, just cooling the ground as you come into a neighborhood. If you come into a neighborhood that's got a lot of trees and lawns and things like that, you usually come into a cooler area. When you come off the highway and you come into a neighborhood that's got nice landscapes, nice lawns, nice trees, it's usually that temperature will drop a degree. It's just a little more, welcoming to have, a little bit of green space. And so long as you're not dumping all the chemicals every other month on the lawn, if you are going to more of a basic maintenance, basic care, and doing it right, you're not spending a fortune, and it is a nice recharge area as well for your, for water. It can be a good place to pump out, not pump out, but when your storm water comes off your roof, you can actually have your pop-ups out into the lawn where it takes that water, away from the foundation of your home in order to put that back out into the ground, and it will filter through. That turf grass will take up some of that, the impurities that are there on its way down, as well as just making an area where water can start its journey down.
I have a message here from Dan Martone.
Okay.
There seems to be an issue with the phone lines.
Gotcha. We were wondering about
when
that.
When you call in, it's busy.
Oh, I got you.
So,
they got
well, we had a bad power outage here at the airport in this area.
Okay.
And everything had rebooted when we came back in yesterday morning to the power outage. And Skype says we were signed in. It says we were signed in. And now it wants me to get started. And so Dan's working on it.
Oh, he's working on that. Oh, okay.
And so if you were trying to call in,
we're sorry.
Put something on the Facebook page.
Put something on the Facebook page. Yeah,
Carol Ann checks the Facebook page. She's got it right here in front of her.
I've got it here. I bring it up, and I have to hit refresh
so
when I do it.
So if you want to do that. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more from Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin after this time out. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune in to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors, Sunday mornings at 8 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen Sunday mornings at 8 to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors.
Our firm offers insurance services.
How does Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery celebrate 70 years? Well, you've got to see for yourself to believe it. They're pulling out all the stops with 5.5 acres of never-before super values. Check out the ad. They emphasize sevens as is 70 years. Your favorites like Juniper, $7. Podocarpus, $7. African Iris, 2 for $7. Gerber Daisy, 2 for $7. And wow, check out the BOGOs. Buy one, get one free. Butterfly bush, porterweed, hibiscus, agapanthus, salvia, Mexican firebush, many more, all on BOGO for Bob Wine's Gala's 70th anniversary celebration. Folks, that's just a sample of the savings. Check the ad for more at bobwinescamelliagardens.net. But be there early for the best selection. Bob Wine's Camellia Garden, Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, daily till 4:30, Saturdays till 3, keeping you in bloom for 70 years.
Hey, do you know there's an Italian bakery in Ocala? Well, there is. It's the Magnolia Italian Bakery, where you can get the best Italian specialties. We have Italian and New York cheesecakes, fresh-made cannolis, cream puffs, eclairs, and even custom and gourmet cakes. We even serve hot and cold lunch daily. I suggest you try the Italian special number 3. We even cater big and small events. So call ahead, 352-207-2667. Visit the Magnolia Italian Bakery. Manja. God bless.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Don't go through another year with that awful joint pain. Now there's an exciting new treatment using natural biologics, regenerative solutions that can restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints. Hey folks, it's Tom Schmitz, and I'm talking about QC Kinetics, now open here. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in non-surgical regeneration. Highly concentrated natural biologics that can give you lasting relief. If you have pain in your knees, back, shoulder, hips, and you're tired of steroids, tired of pain meds, and talk of major surgery, this is the treatment you've been hoping for. Call the medical professionals at QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. Learn about how natural biologics can be used to get you moving again pain-free. Listen, don't let them keep giving you steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. They have offices now in Ocala and the Villages. Call 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550.
While we may disagree a lot, we do agree Rural King's our favorite place for spring planting.
Yeah, but we've got to focus. Roses, a couple flats of impatiens, and a spade.
A shovel? I'm thinking tiller.
We do not need a tiller.
Wait, a mower. Those no zero turns are sweet.
Focus. Roses, mulch, shovel, impatiens.
Jeez, talk about impatient.
Can I help you?
Yeah, chainsaws.
Let's go.
I'm almost done mowing this section.
Ridiculous.
So, Carol Ann, I have to apologize. We got no phone for you. Because people, I'm to understand that, I got text messages on my phone. We've been trying to call in. The phone line's busy.
Right.
So then I told Dan that. Dan called in, and sure enough,
phone
lines
line's
are busy. So, and that means coming up next, Matt Gibbs of Sunrise Auto.
Just gonna have
Sonny's going to be upset.
Yep.
Sonny's probably got something to brag about that Sable of his.
Yeah,
He's
that.
going to be upset.
That
So, right now, everybody's gardens are growing and everything.
The veggies are growing. Warm season annuals.
You always
are
say,
going in the
though,
ground.
fertilizer in the spring, and then but that's for grass.
Right.
Garden-wise, does it need to be fertilized periodically throughout the growing season?
Your vegetables and that, sure, vegetables and herbs and flowers as well. I mean, we think, in the springtime, our permanent landscape plants, our shrubs, our trees, our lawns, we usually do that in early spring. Again, that mid-March kind of thing, and here at the end of May, we can give those guys another boost also. Most established landscape shrubs, like just looking out here, we've got ligustrum out here, there's loropetalum over there, there's palms. Probably really once a year is probably sufficient on those kind of things because they've been in the ground for years. Anything that's been in the ground 5+ years really doesn't need more fertilization. on a, not on a 3 or 4 times a year kind of thing, but once a year, maybe coming out of spring, giving everything a nice boost, just to kind of keep them healthy, should be sufficient. Because you figure in nature, if they were just growing as plants, nobody would be going out there 3 times a year, putting a dose of 10-10-10 or 8-0-10 or something like that down on the ground underneath them. So they know how to take care of themselves usually. So mostly when we're thinking about fertilizing things, we're looking at our perennials, we're looking at our annuals, our vegetables, our herbs, and things like that. Herbs, most people go with most of the organic type fertilizers,
Right.
only because you're consuming that whole plant usually. You're consuming the leaves, you're consuming all of that. The plants don't know where their nitrogen source came from. So synthetic versus organic is really just a personal preference. But I do know that most people go with the organics just because.
Makes them feel, that word makes them feel better.
Makes you feel better. And it's not going to hurt anything to go with the organic fertilizer. If you've got tomatoes, squash, peppers, cucumbers, things like that, I always try to make sure I look for a fertilizer that has the calcium in it. I don't think you will find any of the blue kind, the stuff you mix with water, that's going to contain the calcium.
Mm-hmm.
So you are actually looking for one, and you can get which I prefer the slower release kind of fertilizers anyway. But you read the bag. There's
But this is a
several different
granular
ones.
thing. You just
that
throw
you're
it.
going to
Right.
put a little. You're going to put a little handful around each tomato plant, each pepper plant, things like that. If they've got the calcium, we usually don't have to worry about a blossom end rot issue, and that's a big problem with. It seems like with our soils is that that they have that issue.
The only problem I've seen with the vegetable garden right now is Susan said all of the bell peppers made it but one.
Oh.
And I went out there and looked, and I go, I don't think that has anything to do with dead. Because it's a stalk that's sticking up about 5 inches out of the ground.
Okay.
5-6 inches.
Okay.
When you thump it or something like that, it doesn't move. It's
Okay,
very
so
firm.
it's got roots in there.
Very firm. But the leaves are gone.
Ah.
To me, I think something ate those
It
leaves.
might have been a tomato hornworm that
Because
gobbled
they
those
look,
down. Yeah.
it looks like something
chewed the leaves off.
right.
Well, then leave it alone
No,
and
it's
give it a chance.
It's
Yeah,
popped
putting
out little
some
new leaves on top.
Put
Yeah,
some new leaves on.
little bitty.
One thing, and that I have had in the past in gardens when I had things right in the ground was you plant all your little tomato plants, and one, you either battle the cutworms that are in there, and somehow they find those little plants and wrap themselves around and chew the stem off, and boom, all you find is a stub sticking out of the ground and the top of your plant laying on the ground beside of it. That is a tomato hornworm. You can actually put, when you plant your tomatoes or your peppers, is plant a matchstick with it. And anybody know what a matchstick is?
Phosphorus down or phosphorus up?
No, doesn't matter. I'd probably put it down, but it's the stick that they can't wrap around
to
be able to chew it. So it kind of prevents them from being able to chew it. The other thing that I always had a battle with was I'd come out in the morning and all you'd see sticking up out of the ground was like 4 or 5 little leaves. And it's like, where'd the rest of it go? It was pulled underground, chewed off. The only thing left was
the leaves.
So whether or not it was, I always blamed it on mole crickets.
Now, is there when you do the fertilizing,
Mhm.
is there an all-in-one, or can you fertilize and get rid of the pest at the same time? Is there something you can do to get rid of the pest?
Not for your veggies, no. And usually we only want to treat for pests when we know we have a problem, especially in the vegetable garden.
Right.
Why put down even organic materials, you don't want to put them down if you don't have an issue, because you don't want pests to become resistant to anything.
Right, okay.
And
kind of like you don't want to take antibiotics unless you're sick.
Unless you actually need them. Why? And nowadays they're telling you even don't take an aspirin unless the doctor actually tells you now that they're kind of getting away from that.
They don't hurt like I do.
Yeah, no. You take Tylenol. Watch your liver. But on things like that, and even with and a lot of the newer organic things are all oils. So for us here in Central Florida, we have to be very careful. And so, and even with those, they do have pre-harvest intervals. Most of those are up to harvest, but to me, I'm going to harvest before I spray. If my tomatoes are they're beginning to ripen, and I'm getting tomatoes every other day and things like that, guess what? I'm not spraying. If the bugs get a hold of some of the leaves and start to eat the plant, it's okay. That plant can lose 80% of its leaves and still produce fruit.
We didn't have this problem last year because all the bell peppers and everything
was brand new.
And they were in pots.
Right.
We grew the bell peppers and all in pots.
Right.
The only thing we grew last year in the ground was
the cucumbers. Right.
And that was out in the yard. We actually took a side right next to the fence where Bermuda grass and all had grown great. So.
Right. So, hey, it had enough sun. It was good. Right. Yeah, it was a good spot.
And so this year, though, Susan actually made a garden.
Made the bed, right.
In the ground.
Right.
And so worms and all are something we got to worry about.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's something you got to pay attention to. And if you do find something has been chewed off right there at ground level, you can usually, if you're popping out there in the morning, you got your cup of coffee, you step out there and you go, oh, looky here. You got a dead one. Take your finger or something like that, dig. You may find that caterpillar, that cutworm right there. Fish him out of there, give him a good stomp, and
there you go.
And he's gone.
Carol Ann, if people want to find you or ask you questions when phone lines aren't working, give them some alternatives.
They can get a hold of us on the In the Garden Facebook group page. Use that anytime for questions, bragging rights.
And you just ask to be a member, answer a couple questions.
That's it, and you're there. Look for me at work. Not today though. I won't be there. You can look for me.
Day off.
Yeah, day off. Well, finally, much needed.
If you want to come work the counter, it just ships, so I could have a day off.
That's maybe another day. maybe another day.
I had the day off yesterday. I'd take a second one.
Yeah. Well, I had a day off last week. I have another one coming this week, but. Yeah.
Matt's in the room. Matt's looking at us like days off.
Day off. Yeah. Well, he's got Sundays off. Well, except that, but not really.
Sunday's one of his busiest days. He's got to go to church and everything.
That's the family day. That's it, yeah.
Carol Ann, thanks so much for being here. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Next week, yep.
And hopefully the phone lines will be working.
Hopefully the phone lines, but use the In the Facebook group page. Love to hear from you.
We'll be back at this time out. Matt Gibbs next, right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
The president will be addressing key issues such as inflation and how his administration plans to tackle it later on Tuesday. Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley believes that the Biden administration's policies are driving inflation.
He's responsible for this inflationary binge. He's the one who's given it to us. Gas prices have been going up for an entire year and a half now under him. There's a simple solution to this, by the way. Why don't we produce American energy?
That audio courtesy of Fox and Friends. The Biden administration is again